We'll bring this meeting to order. We have one order of new business before us tonight, and then we have one order of new business, additional. Graham was going to talk with us about signage and his interest in looking at our signage code. So anyway, for starters, I want to welcome Chris Karakoff back again. This is a project I think that you've all seen. I sent it all out to you on Friday. This is a project at 526 Dudley cleared zoning on Friday, and so we circulated it in order to give it a look tonight. I let Chris and his client know that while we will take a look at it, we really haven't had time to individually look at it and sort of think about it and really come with opinions we can discuss, but that in the interest of helping them to move forward with it, we would look at it tonight, and if we don't feel that we're able to recommend the council that it be approved for COA the way it currently stands, then we'll be able to kind of think about and be able to make some suggestions through conversation tonight, but I was thinking more in terms of putting some specific comments together that we would then write up and then submit to you after the meeting, and then allow you to go ahead and make changes if we felt it needed to be brought into conformance if it isn't already. And then we would take it up officially at our next meeting. Council has a meeting next Thursday, so depending on changes, it's within the realm of possibility that we could move more quickly, but I think reasonably we'll be looking for to be able to either approve or recommend not approving it, move it on to council next month. So anyway, Chris, I want to turn it over to you, and you want to walk us through the project?
Sure. And I don't know if we have it digitally or I can just verbally talk through it if that works for you guys.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you want, we could spread these things out. If you want to come up and we can just kind of gather around and happy to talk.
Yeah, that's right.
Chris brought in a hard copy that I think will make it easier. The only thing that we had in the borough office is this site plan. So this way I can be able to see it better. This is what you all see digitally in the project.
Thanks.
Great.
So, thanks for having us. My client, I guess, is not coming tonight. But, I'll kind of relay what we talk about tonight to them, and ideally any notes that you guys provide would be great digitally as well. So my client came to me looking to add on to their house. They have 2 or 3 kids that are getting bigger and bigger. So they were looking to add on some space to their house. They live on 500 block of Dudley, as you all know, and the plan was to add on to the side of the house and toward the rear as well. I know we've worked on other projects together with you guys, so keeping that in mind, I was sensitive to setting back the existing or the proposed addition. So we're proposing a 2-story addition on the side of the house and a bit on the rear as well to accommodate the bedrooms that they're looking for, which they have 4 bedrooms currently proposed on the second floor. Some additional living space on the ground floor and walk together. So first floor is existing with the demo showing a dashed kind of
Okay, so here's the front door, existing front door. So demolition of the existing kitchen, including bearing walls, as well as this what has been like a dining room poop out, I think.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Which is typical of this model house. I lived in one myself. So yeah, we're moving this so that we're kind of expanding back here on the side. So
can I ask, is it currently a 3-bedroom, 1 bath?
3-bedroom, 1 bath. Yeah. Very small middle bedroom, but yes, 3-bedroom, 1 bath would be considered. The rear bedroom, 1, 2, 3. So,
So here's the first floor.
so yeah, this is the first floor, so.
So this will give you a sense, because I thought it's something that's it's hard to kind of figure out where they.
Yeah, the line right
Line.
here.
The original
Yeah,
is, the
this,
line is
sure.
here.
This solid code here,
It
yep,
stops
exactly.
here. So it stops here.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, the new addition here, they want an office down here and a, guest kind of suite, so then, they would have a bathroom, they have a mudroom entrance on the side here. That brings them into, we're still kind of maintaining the living room on the front, the front entry porch. We are expanding the porch along the side here, adding a door on the front, a secondary door, so we still have the original door, new door here. And then as you come back, we're expanding out here because they wanted a larger kitchen. So we had like a breakfast nook kind of thing, so we're kind of extending toward the rear. And then a family room on the side here and then steps that take you down to a finished basement below the new portion. And then this kind of kisses the existing garage here. So this is an existing garage on the property.
It's a two-car, right? So there's a,
Yes,
right, okay.
2 cars. So
this
we're
is-
maintaining the 1 car portion of it to accommodate the new family room, kind of open living area that they were supposed to get. And then off the rear, we're doing like a folding door that takes you back to a partially covered outdoor living room, the deck area basically. They may put screens there or something like that down the road. And then open deck that takes you to the rear. So that's first floor. Second floor, and dining room, living room kind of stay in the same configuration. The stairs are in the same location, taking you to the second floor. We are closing up the existing stairs that are go down to the basement. We're just adding some beverage center, we're calling it, below the stair. So the stair to the basement now go down to the finished side.
So you'll have basement under the new part and
Right.
continue to have basement.
Yeah, we'll do. To accommodate the program up here, so we end up just with a roof. This is that roof that's over top of here. So we've got the same bedroom here. This bedroom is almost in the same location as existing, except we expand out to get an egress window. Or a window would be
Yeah, I was gonna say,
required to be egress.
it's a window.
It's a window.
It's the only window.
Yep, the one and only window. It's the only way to get it in there, and then that kind of pushes us, further out for the master or primary bedroom, I should say. So you come down a hallway to the primary bedroom, we'll have a vaulted ceiling here that faces the front, and kind of created some symmetry with the windows on the front there. But again, we're kind of stepping it back to kind of try to help that historic, recognize the historic building on the front. And then toward the back, they have a walk-in closet, bathroom, the laundry area up here, and then a fourth bedroom in the rear here with its bathroom. It's really well. It's very efficient.
Okay, all right.
It's quite a house. All said and done.
Yeah, it'll be very, well, it'll function very well for that. It's just what they need, so.
So I'll ask the question I always ask, what was your square footage?
Square footage, so.
I knew you would come, because I always ask.
Yeah, you asked at our
At our
informal meeting, yeah, so let's see, we have a, the original house was 1360, and we end up with 3588. So it's like a 2,200 square foot addition.
Okay.
So, and then I guess would you like to look at the exterior?
Sure. Yep, sure.
Open it up here. So roof line wise, we'll talk about that. This is the existing roof line. This is like the ridge that comes up to the gable ridge here. We're carrying that across, kind of keeping that, and then, yeah. Okay, so, so again, this is steps back here. So we have we're kind of continuing the roof line up, continuing that ridge line across the front. And then, so kind of marrying the two together, we have a new dormer on the front here, and then the existing hip dormer on the existing house. Down below, we have a covered porch roof. That kind of steps back. We made that standing seam metal just to kind of differentiate it because we had kind of two covered porch still on. We have a little bit of a bump out here, so we selected a different material for this kind of element to kind of make it kind of read like a separate volume with some decorative brackets below. We've got we're kind of accentuating the door here. I know that was a concern on other projects to kind of maintain the identity of the front door. So we're kind of painting this the same color so it almost, doesn't draw the eye. While the family may likely be using that as their main front door, we still maintain this and kind of highlight it. You can see the garage in the back that we're tying into, and the mudroom entrance lanes that's in there, so that's the side entrance of the house. And design-wise, the client, we're looking at maybe adding some shutters or something like that. We kind of wanted to get your feedback on the project before we redid it. She's found some new images that she liked a little bit better that were more like a, I call it an artisan style versus this kind of craftsman farmhouse style. So, but
You mean for like the exterior?
yeah, for exterior materials. But I figured we'll present it as is for now, kind of, in case there's changes, and we'll kind of address all that stuff going forward.
Are you looking, is this fiber cement board that you're?
Yeah, this would probably be, hardy board and batten, and then hardy siding is what we.
And you would stay with that material, with whatever the new?
I think they were just gonna go with a siding, we were talking about, I can't remember now if they wanted to do like a stucco down there and then just do plank siding, hardy, but we'll just say it's not gonna be vinyl if that's the
Okay.
underlying question, I'm not sure.
Asphalt shingle for the roof?
Yeah, asphalt shingle for the main part of the roof, and then standing seam, none of that's changing.
Okay.
All of these lines of the roof on the original section are kept, right? So this is existing, as is this overhang with
Yep.
that little
Exactly
porch
right,
there,
yeah.
that is
All
maintained.
this is all existing, we're just kind of continuing it.
Right.
Okay,
Are we open to
Yes,
comments?
open to comments,
Okay.
yes, go ahead, I'm sorry.
To you.
No worries.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
Yeah, big conclusions.
We'll go around, and I just want to make sure that there's nothing else.
No.
We-
We'll open it up and.
Have questions and any comments from everybody?
Should Dennis do this?
No, it's fine, no, I've already seen it, so I kind of.
Well,
thought
I'm
about it.
kind of starting from just sort of a problem, which is these two front doors, though you've painted one color and the other another, they're like in competition with each other to be the front door. And it's complicated by the fact that the massing of these two, the existing and the new, are both sized to be single-family dwellings. So you have this like mashed together of what could essentially be a twin. And it just feels unresolved to me in that this addition is massive. And the walk-in closet is like massive, and everything is massive. And it just seems unresolved to me, and I don't know how the numbers shake out in terms of, I saw impervious is really high. I don't know if zoning had a comment on impervious.
No, we were within the,
Yeah, you're within it, but it's.
yeah, we're close. I
You've
think
cleared zoning with Kevin.
Right.
Yes, I passed zoning. Sorry, the audio's kind of in and out.
I would be interested to see this house, the elevation on the street, with its adjacent houses, to see how exactly it,
Would fit
in the context, yeah, of that neighborhood, how it reads.
Okay.
I don't know, I don't think that's in our requirements,
What's that?
but it always comes up in
Yeah.
planning commission.
Got a street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what does it, what is it next to?
Yeah,
Yeah, context.
yeah. Jim?
Well, the first thing that strikes me is it's a very good plan. I think whoever lives in the house is gonna be very happy. It's gonna be, the functionality of the plan is undeniable. I'm troubled by the sort of duality of the front elevation. I think I would agree with the previous comment about it looking like a twin in a way. I'm troubled by the enormous second floor window in the one gable. And I think the two dormers are fighting with one another. No, they're not actually fighting with each other, but they're competing. And I suggest that dumbing down the one.
Maybe like a shed dormer on the one.
It's a
or
shed,
something
and then that would
like
let the original dormer
Yeah,
have its specialness back.
gotcha.
Be more prominent.
Yeah, because right now it's become an also ring.
I'm not even sure you need a dormer there, because you've got pretty significant height. I'm not sure what you would gain.
Well, there's some advantage to the large window.
Yeah, we're showing a transom there, so that's why we
Yeah.
need a dormer in that
And
scenario.
that's unlike anything anywhere in Narberth. And it's sort of not consistent with the dominant aesthetic, I guess. And I'm not for conformity, but it ain't right.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I rely on somebody else who is fancier language.
You know, coming off, I think maybe both of your points, I mean, I just say just one thing, in that it's a really large addition, and it's really wide, it's wider than the original house, and the guidance that we're working with, has come to us through Secretary of Interior Standards, talks about scale, and talks about the relationship scale-wise of the new addition to the existing. And we've talked before about that, and this is a case where the original house really does become, it also ran to this. It's set back, but it's just set back a little bit. It's extremely wide, it's wider than the house. The doorway still really troubles me, because really what you're doing is you're creating a center hall plan house where one didn't exist before, And to me, that's a really major change in the way this house works and the way the addition works with it. You know, I can completely understand, you know, an owner wanting to get sort of as much square footage as possible, but, you know, our guidance really requires us to have an addition be set secondary to the existing house, and this one just isn't. So, I mean, that would be the overarching, comment I would have, about it, I think, in general. Kevin, you wanna jump in?
No, I mean, I agree with that. I didn't think about the wall dormer, if there's a way that changing that would make it less and see less and help you get in the right direction.
Yeah, I was wondering, eliminating the dormer, but then does it make it feel just like even longer, whereas the dormer
I see.
breaks it up a little bit, was the original intent. Maybe you could see a shed dormer. I mean, I'm okay with losing the transom, I guess, not that important, but
Tell me about the transom, what are you referring to?
this kind of second set of windows that helps light get kind of deeper into the
Oh,
room
the
and higher up, yeah.
window.
Yeah, so we're maintaining kind of a standard kind of head height, and then these are taller, and then if we didn't have a dormer, would be there.
What is that room? Is that a master bedroom?
That's the master.
Yeah, and it's articulated also in the ceiling here.
Yeah, it's a vaulted
dash.
ceiling there.
But Jim's suggestion to make this all a shed roof is a great opportunity to maybe, I know this is not what you want here,
Yeah.
but maybe collapse the space in a bit. And it would, I think, bring back sort of the charm of the original modestly sized existing house. And I see like a number of opportunities to do that. Maybe you can't take out some width from here, but you certainly can from here. And then on the floor below, the same. The office has like a dance floor in front of it that easily could just be, you know, all of this. It's really huge.
Yeah, so I mean, just if we were trimming the fat, as it were, in some of these rooms, is that gonna get us to where we would be approvable or where we need to be?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things we're fighting with here is getting a window.
Yeah, and I can
Legal
see you're
for the
fighting
bedroom.
with that, and I can see you're not winning. I
Yeah.
mean, this is, you know what I mean, in terms of like the way everything like lays out, like, I can see you, I can just picture you like working to try to make this thing work, and it kind of does, but just barely.
Right.
And I think it's really sort of because of how sort of massive that primary bedroom is.
Yeah, maybe I take some of the program that's here, put it here where it doesn't need the windows.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm
The bedroom.
troubled by the overall width of the whole thing, and I think, you know how it is very much the original building kind of comes off as being more of an also ran in a way. That kind of I would like to see that, that, because and then you look at the kind of square footage, and again, as with like the other project that we've talked to you about, being able to sort of, you have more leeway in the back, being able to load the back up, and be able to sort of free up the front, so setting it back a little bit more, making it more narrow, I think really serves a lot of that. But it's a small house, and I mean, I know the reason these Dudley houses are attractive for additions is because they're sitting on very wide lots for their size. And so that's, but I think in terms of trying to make an addition that works well with the house.
Every one of them is on double lot.
Every one of them, yeah, every one of them is on like the right-hand side of the lot, isn't it? Yeah,
On the right hand side.
yeah. And there were two, I mean, basically they were gridded out as being two lots. They just built, either they were gonna put a twin and run it in, or they were gonna do one and have, so they never really
The
loaded it
Victory
up.
Garden.
Yeah, they didn't load it up the way, say, Hampton Avenue got loaded up, so there was the room to then be doing something later, but, I just think that, again, what we talked about before is you're starting with a really small house, and so the addition needs to be scaled to that small house. If they were starting out with a house that was, 2,500 square feet, it's sort of a different, you can hide a larger addition, but it's really hard with this one.
I don't go by the same premise that it needs to have the same scale, and it needs to be consistent with what it was originally. I don't have a problem, again, with the mass and the size relative to the original. So the whole premise, the entire premise of pushback relative to the dimensions, I think is certainly questionable, and it is not an absolute. It's not something that we agree upon.
But it's
And
the
once again,
Standards and
Yeah,
stuff.
but that's, no, that's not the case. So we're entering a realm here that is just not an absolute, and it's not something that we agree upon. So to say that the scale must go down is not irrefutable.
So the scale's gotta be.
It's not irrefutable.
I mean, I would just ask Graham to define then how the addition is secondary to the existing. I mean, is there a
For
way?
me to define it,
Yeah, it's to define it so that it complies with the Secretary of the Interior standards.
I'm not prepared to do that, nor do I feel I need to. I don't abide by that standard as gospel, frankly, and I think others don't as well. So you can pull it out, you can wave it around, but it doesn't mean anything. Well, it doesn't, well, that's fine, I can do that, I can speak for myself.
You can.
And, it's.
We're happy to have you do that.
Yeah, and I think others agree. So when you come in and say it must be scaled back, I see that in this case there is an effort to step it back, and there is a reference to the original in the addition. And you don't like this specific reference. I thought that this was interesting to reflect those same lines. You don't like the treatment of it, but I recall one of the statements within one of the principles of the Department of Interior was to make it
We don't
look.
recognize that.
Well,
I know that, yeah. Okay.
yeah, to make it not the same, to make it not mimic, but to be perhaps a modern version of something, so a reference, but not the same. You don't want it to be the same. And so if you're going by the Department of Interior standards, then give some recognition to that, you know, rather than blast everything.
No, okay, no, this isn't to blast that. I think what we've been saying is that the addition should read as a secondary element to the original building. We're trying to look for things about this that gave this too much play or made this too prominent a feature. And so a couple people have pointed out that this particular dormer helps to really establish this as a very strong central element. This is all. So you're not reading this so much as an addition to this sort of prominently designed element, but it becomes its own design element sort of right up next to it. And that was, I think, the comment about it feeling like a twin, or feeling like sort of two buildings together. So I think that was that. I don't think, as a design, I don't think any of us have trouble with a house that has a strong central element and tall windows, and but I think within this particular, we're really talking about within this particular context.
I would suggest that the notion of the size and scale is a matter of zoning.
Well, it's also a matter of historic preservation and of the guidance that we're working with that's come down to us that Borough Council has adopted. So we're working with that, and we're working with 50 years of historic preservation practice. So.
And if you look to the images that I photographed and distributed of all the different additions throughout Narberth, there is a historic precedent for sizable additions.
Oh, there are.
And you can't refute that that's part of our history.
It's part of our history, but we have to look at what the impact on an individual building is.
And we also have a historic district ordinance in place now in the borough that was not in place previously.
At that time. And that's one of the reasons why there are, those sort of massive, poorly designed additions. This is a massive but nicely designed addition, I would argue. But
So
I
we're
think
trying to achieve good design.
we are. We're also trying to achieve scale that is compatible with the historic building. because that's part of our charge.
To be balanced with what's appropriate, in social and economic context.
No.
As well,
No,
yes.
no.
Social and economic
All right.
context
Okay, here's
vital.
a question.
Is
All right,
vital.
does this building, to do that, does this have to become a 3,300 square foot house to be a livable house today? And I would argue it really doesn't. You know, what you're arguing is that that's the only way for this building to function and to survive.
I never said it's the only way. Don't
Well-
put words in my mouth.
Well, but it's, you know, what you see, you're implying that something smaller would violate that livability.
Or you're implying that something larger is not acceptable, and I refute that.
I'm saying that something that this large is not compatible with the scale of this building. Okay.
Can I just, I recognize your comment, but just for the sake of adding as much feedback as we can for Chris's sake, I've heard you, and this won't speak for anyone else, but I think we were starting to throw stuff at the table which maybe could be useful. We're not.
Yeah.
But in our limited time.
Yep.
I do think we should move on.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
And there are other issues like just clarity of what's going on in the facade. Like, for example, maybe what do you think about the issue with the doors, for example? That has nothing to do with the square footage necessarily. It has to do with how you read the facade.
You're asking me?
Well, that's just an example of something that we can kind of continue to move forward with improving the design without getting hung up necessarily.
Picking up on Kevin's comment, and yes, we do want to provide useful feedback for you. In the matter of community character, historic fabric, all of that, because impervious is so high, and I know a lot of time was given to developing this plan, there is nothing here in the drawings anyway that shows tree plantings or vegetation or anything, which is a part of scale. It is a part of the, scale of the building, the experience of the site. Are there trees existing where you're proposing
There is an existing.
There
to,
is one,
Size
kind of like right in front of, the building here, yeah.
in front of the
I don't know that we
existing?
need to remove it, it's in front of the existing,
Okay.
because there's a driveway that
Do you have
runs.
photos of the existing?
At one point, I think somehow they didn't make it.
I have.
Do you have them on your?
Yeah, when we were sitting, we were looking at them, I don't remember if I just pulled up Street View or what.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're seeing, well, this one would be going away, but there's this one here, right? And I don't know what they are with the issue.
Yeah, this one can stay, that's, that's kind of right around here.
Yeah, that looks like was it cedar?
Yeah.
But this looks like it's pretty mature tree. I can't tell what the species is. It's different. Planning commission can address, the need to replace trees. But as a matter of
And that
design,
may not even need to be replaced, because we are set back.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be thoughtful. I mean, that would
Yeah, like,
definitely be.
right, and that kind of like
Yeah.
also helps with making it a secondary kind of,
Yeah,
like it's always been there.
right.
If I can return to the matter of making the addition more secondary, perhaps, is there anything, does it make sense to consider the dimensions of the amount of setback and the height on the roof line that might help make it look more secondary? So further back and less tall.
I mean, based on your comments, my first thought, and I'll just throw it out there just to get immediate feedback if you don't mind, but if we, as I mentioned, I was kind of fighting with this, bedroom creating a legal window, if we just, took this, scooched it over, we could still maintain a nice large size. This could now become maybe walk-in closet and, you know, the hall bath or something. And then the laundry scooches over here, and then now we free up this room to kind of be that fourth bedroom. So that way here, we're narrowing up for a bit until we kind of have to bump back out, and then that's now in the, you know, the third room later.
I could make the front an innie instead of an outie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to,
Right. Yeah, you draw it.
Yeah, no,
And then maybe we go with a shed dormer to kind of differentiate it, or
if this thing were back to here, and this did this,
Right.
what you'd read in the front would be this dimension,
right,
which is compatible with that dimension.
yeah.
And I think the biggest problem would go away.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't affect anything back here.
Mm.
It would actually give you a planing strip that you could have a driveway unimpeded by plant materials. You drive into your garage, and I think it would be a much better plan, and then dumb this down, this dormer, and you're there.
But still keep, you know, the bedroom here.
Or you could, you
Still have a window.
gotta swap out, I mean, this takes a chunk out of the
Mhm.
master bedroom. I understand people wanna have big bedrooms. I do not have one, but
You might have a little more leeway, if you were able to plan a little more
Yeah.
spatially, you may be able to, you know, as you're suggesting, by moving this, have a much more successful second bedroom. Because it does seem like, you know, that even if this wall stayed there, this is still kind of, you know,
Yeah.
it's got nice light in the morning, but that's about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and if this kind of stuff could move, and maybe the walk-in closet becomes a little less, and, you know, as you were saying, to kind of move the stuff, because you have room to sort of play around back here.
Those are the elements that I can kind of,
Yeah.
but the goal of all this is to make the apparent
Yeah.
facade
Right.
ultimately, exactly.
more
Yeah.
modest.
Yeah, so you're all addressing the dimension of the width of the addition, really,
Yeah.
that's the primary concern.
Of the initial, of the street part of it, and then with sort of, you know, being able to sort of go back to what he wants to do here, once you get past this certain part, you know? So I think that allows us to kind of see this more as an addition and
you're
less
gonna
as,
lose a window,
which one? You're gonna,
the one on the left, if you make it narrower.
Yeah, I think we kind of end up with a set of windows here with maybe a shed dormer over it. and
Yeah.
This gets one, this one gets the others.
but see, this would then become a window that surfaces this bedroom too. So you've got the same amount of window on your front, but now this bedroom would move back here and get better windows after it moves.
Jim, mentioned dumb it down, what is that?
That's in reference to my earlier comment about the dormers.
Just to lose the transit, or
Simplify the dormer,
as in smaller?
as in different, as in not dominant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can imagine
I think
a
the
nice
window-
low shed that would
the
still
window
allow
is
you to have
over
a
there.
taller window there.
Yeah.
It's the biggest window in Narberth. And that includes the dearly departed church.
Yeah.
You know, it's just completely off the page in terms of other residential facades.
Yeah, I can see this as a shallow shed that will value enough space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't affect the
Yeah, no.
floor plan at all
Yep,
to do
yep,
that.
yep.
So do you lose the reference of that roof the way it is, or does this completely go away when you dumb it down? I'm just not quite.
Yeah, I think what we're talking
I
about
think
there
that
is
would
is
be-
doing, if you don't mind. I mean,
Yeah, go right ahead.
So, you know, doing some kind of, we're gonna be shorter, maybe all the way here. Coming back, we'll step in somewhere down here, maybe it makes sense around the mudroom as well. Like we kind of take all this and scooch it over, that goes away, and then we didn't really lose too much, as long as you can still get to that So then that's your main entrance, although when they're getting groceries, they still can come in through the bedroom.
Right.
And then up here, yeah, there's maybe like some kind of shed roof.
And maybe it's a shed roof that, even so, possibly that only services this. You know, maybe it's just a little pop-up there to give you that. And then it would be, you know, it would be a nice sort of linear design element, but it wouldn't do this, you know. Yeah.
And then do we still have the question on the two doors?
Well, I think we would, taking your feedback, you know, maybe eliminate this door, so then we don't have that issue anymore, and we kind of pull this whole front part in. They don't lose too much programmatically.
Right.
We kind of aim to be kind of satisfied that we're, you know, this is the main door, this is the main house. We're kind of pulling this in and then stepping back out where they want it and where it's kind of in the third lot layer out of, you know.
On the other hand, the new door that you propose is in a much better place
Yes,
for a front
I agree.
door. Much better place, because the traffic is not through the living room.
And then, and you're
And
cutting
that's
out.
not a good thing, to have the traffic through the living room. Many Norworth houses have that, and it sucks every single time.
Yeah, agreed.
So eliminating one of the doors, I think relocating the front door is not a sin.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it is.
But they wouldn't be able to add a door and have, Kevin, Walsh, what's the rule about having like a walkway from the sidewalk to a second door? Is that?
You can't have multiple walkways to the sidewalk to a primary entrance. So that's why that secondary door now has to go parallel to the street and then to the driveway. You couldn't have two straight to the sidewalk.
Okay. Right, got it, okay.
But there's no reason not to eliminate the existing front door and replace it with a new front door in a much better location.
Yeah, I would question that. I mean, that would trigger a review all by itself, because you're removing the original front door.
Yep.
So, and I think that would be problematic.
So can we do it with paint?
Remove it with paint or just paint it
Remove it
out?
with paint, paint it out.
I mean, my feeling is that this still needs to read as the front door, whether or not there's a second door that people use more often. And that was true of your other project too.
Yeah, we put more like a patio type door.
The original front door still needs to read strongly as the front door.
This is
whether or
gonna
not-
be the door that's most.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're gonna, you know,
This
they're
is-
gonna park
yeah.
in that driveway and go right through there. Honestly, that's gonna be a
Exactly.
pretty functional door. The other one is gonna be able to take them out to a nice covered porch to say hi to their neighbors. And
Right,
it's not a huge high traffic. They'll get their mail delivered there. I don't know, I feel like I can talk them into that one.
sure.
And that way, we're
And
kind
in fact, I mean, the only reason really for having this, like, is it gives them a little more privacy, it allows it to really be a guest suite. Because otherwise, I bet you would have probably had this bit of wider opening, you know, so it communicates more. And it would read, you know, if that was the case, it would read less as a center hall plan. But, you know, but I think the original door needs to stay where it is and be, you know, sort of clearly the original door. So, you know, again, Jim, yeah, most of our houses have a door coming into the, you know, but that's the nature of that's the house. That's the nature of the houses. So it's, you know.
I mean, the other way of looking at it is you sort of reprogram your furniture layout
Sure.
so that it works better with the door. I mean, it doesn't have to, you know,
Sure.
as it's shown here, it seems to be sort of obtrusive, but
Yeah, I
that
mean,
can be
yeah.
resolved other ways.
Because then how people are going to use this, they're going to use this more like a, sort of like as you have it here, like a sort of TV room.
Yeah.
This is where they're going to be hanging out.
Yeah,
You know,
that's your day to day.
that's
So it's the parlor.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah.
It's where you throw your coat on your way to the family room.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like the living room is now almost obsolete because of the family room. It's like they
That's
hang
right.
out where the television is.
Yeah, right. Well, they'll have one here too. We can have, they'll be like, you can watch whatever you want.
Honestly, I think this would make a great little kids' playroom because while the
Sure.
adults are eating civilized here at the table, they can keep an eye on the kids over here and they can just make a mess and be out of the way.
Yeah.
the floor drain in there, you flush it out.
But this is a wall, it's not open from the kitchen, right?
Right.
Right. But keep in mind, we're not regulating the interiors, you know,
Yeah.
but I think just by, it's just sort of natural, as we're talking about the overall form, to sort of be looking at,
Right.
you know, how's this thing work? Because,
Right.
you know, for you and your client, it's gotta work well.
Yeah,
for
the
them.
implications of change the exterior, immediately affects the interior.
Yeah, but I do agree that this is the door they're gonna use.
Yeah.
Coming off of here, you know, neither of these doors would be used all that much, except by
But this-
solicitation.
This walkway is existing and would remain, right? So somebody, a visitor could come in off of
Yes.
it.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
where,
exactly.
Amazon driver's gonna be dropping off all the boxes and.
Whoever's visiting.
Except people that are close to it, they're gonna know to come in on the side.
Yeah.
People who know.
Through the mudroom.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the other front door, the new front door, if that disappears from the plan, then you pick up some more real estate you can do something with.
Well, that allows him to move this over
Yeah, that's
and
really
be able to center,
gonna allow
you
me
know,
to
sort
kind
of,
of scooch
you
it.
know what I mean? Yeah,
Do the innie on both floors.
yeah. It gives you flexibility with that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Any other? I think it's good. I love having these little design charrettes.
Yeah, it's good. I think that would be a good resolution. I think the client will be happy with that.
Okay, good. Cool.
All right.
All right, so, you know, we got in touch with, you know, whatever you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll just get cracking on revising stuff. Zoning wise, it'll just be, I don't know how we get it all to happen for next month. I mean, that's what would be ideal, but I mean, we barely got into this month.
Yeah.
It'd be a month submitted, so.
So whatever you think time-wise you're gonna need, and, you know, if it didn't make it in by, you know, the second, or for that next meeting, I'd be happy to have a special meeting afterwards, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if it,
Because I mean, it depends upon when council, because
Right.
council's gotta approve it. So, it's like, because Kevin, they're meeting next week, right? Council meets next
Council's-
week.
Yeah, they're meeting the 18th, so I'm trying to figure out, you have exactly 5 weeks until the next meeting, so you actually do get an extra meeting. You get an extra week in August, just the way the calendar works. So
Yeah.
I would probably need revisions by the 22nd, which is 2 weeks from today, to give me 10 or so days to review it, to give Harv, 8 days to then re-review it before the meeting.
what is the date of the
Our
meeting?
next meeting is the
It's the
12th.
third.
And the council's next meeting is what, the 15th? No, yeah, council's next meeting, they're the third Thursday?
Third Thursday, so they're meeting next Thursday, the 18th, so then they're gonna meet the 15th of,
Okay,
just the way it works, they're actually meeting 3 days after Harb next month.
so if we could approve it at that meeting, I'll get the paperwork signed to you. Kevin, does that give enough time? Because you will have already seen it.
Yeah, that just needs to be on their agenda, I think 24 hours. So you'll have a day to do it and they'll have a day to post it.
Okay. But I mean, all the work is coming up over the next several weeks.
Yeah,
So as long as you.
2 weeks for me, that'll be enough to
Yeah,
throw something together.
Yeah.
And zoning wise, I mean, if anything, we're shrinking it, so I don't have concerns about that.
okay. All righty, great.
You guys are done with me?
I think we're through with you. Chris, thank you for.
Thank you for the
coming
feedback,
in.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having the conversation.
Yeah, you bet.
Sort of thinking it through. I think the resolution's good.
Yeah,
Agreed. Yeah, cool.
thanks, guys.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay,
take care.
all right. Okay. so we have two other orders of business. We have to, still have to approve the 7 minutes. And believe it or not, they are the March minutes that we'll be approving tonight. Because since then, we've had 2 canceled meetings and 1 meeting that we didn't have a quorum. So it's the March minutes that we're approving. I sent them to you at the end of last week. So if anybody has any corrections or comments about them, if not, we can put it to a vote.
When was March?
When was March? March is back when it was chillier.
I remember that. That was great.
So anyway, okay, do I have a motion to approve our March minutes?
I so moved.
Jim has moved, got a second. Second. Jen has seconded, okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, good. Now, all right, so I'll turn it over to Graham now. As you know, like over the last several meetings, Graham has expressed an interest in taking a look at the signage ordinance, and and as we've discussed, I mean, that's not specifically part of the Hollards purview. It really is the planning commission and zoning. But we're pretty broadly able to recommend things. So I think if we feel that there's recommendations to be made, I think that would be a good thing. I would also mention, and Jim, you could probably fill us in on more. I know this has been on the planning commission's agenda, and I would suggest read through their minutes for their last 2 or 3 meetings.
It's a particularly hot topic right now because the owner of.
Signages?
Yes.
Pardon me?
Signage.
Signage.
Okay.
The owner of the new project up at Albrecht's has requested that the planning commission take a look at the regulations for signage because his building, which requires signage on more than one side, because it's a 2-sided building, it's got 2 frontages, 2 commercial frontages, namely Meeting House Lane and parking lot in Montgomery. So it gets seen
Are
from
they
all
considering 3 sides, including the parking lot?
3 sides, misspoke. And it requires signage for reasons I think we can all appreciate. And the code does not address that situation.
Right. Are they asking then for the code to change or just to get zoning relief?
They're asking for the code to change.
And see, and I think this tying in with what you're looking at, I think for them to just be looking at 5B is a mistake. I think they need to look at 5A too. I mean, it would make sense, if you're gonna be looking at your signage ordinance, you look at your signage ordinance. Otherwise you're kind of just spotlighting one particular issue.
Right.
You can have that issue in other places that in 5A too, and I argue you probably will once that development happens. So I think
This is a door opener.
yeah, exactly. And so, but I think, Jim, I would say, reach out to Todd and, and also go ahead and look at the minutes, and sort of see what the conversation.
Over.
2 to 3. What do you think, Jim?
It's not going.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk about it.
It's gonna go ahead because of that project.
Are they now at the point of making or wanting to make submission on specific signage?
Yes. Yeah, because he's trying to sign up tenants and they want to know, where's my sign gonna go? If you've been watching that thing, it's moving quickly,
Right,
unlike other projects in Norwood.
right.
It's
well,
racing ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. So I took your suggestion, Jim, and went to the code, and I just, as I mentioned in my late email today, I pretty much just cut and pasted but reformatted because frankly, a lot of the code is hard to read, so I put things together where they fit and describe each other. And then I went out and I photographed just earlier, and I don't have the benefit of the photos other than on my phone at this point, photos of what I personally consider to be good and not good, that I'd be happy to share. And of course, Kevin Kevin Walsh, the question comes up of when did those signs go up? Were they under the current code or not, right? But, so, let me start by just distributing this, and I have only 4 copies.
I have it on my screen. so-
Oh, you have it?
Yeah,
Okay, that's
that's
great.
great, so.
Let me,
I'll send it to Steve.
okay. Kevin, I don't know if you happen to have this, it's just the code that I took. And so what I did is found certain things that are of particular interest to me. There's a lot of detail in it, there's a lot of very granular stuff, but certain things jump out. And first, and I reordered to say that the prohibited signage, I think, generally speaking, this is really good. This is good signage code, but yet some things slip through. So all these things that are precluded, prohibited, are good. And I noticed specific things. Some are open to interpretation, like J, roof sign. I just happened to see one, and it comes into a question of definitions because it's above the roof line, but it was attached below the roof line. Is it a roof sign or not? Etc. Detailed stuff.
Where are we looking in your,
I am on, I'm sorry, there's no pagination. On the 3rd page, number 3, following signs are prohibited, and I went to J, roof signs. Now, the one that I'm very happy in there as a baseline is indicated on N, internally illuminated box signs. And some of those exist, but they're grandfathered. Can't do anything about them.
And they're slowly going away. They've been
the
slowly.
bulbs burn,
What's that?
the bulbs burn.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah. So nothing inflatable, nothing mechanical. I have a pet peeve, and by the way, a lot of this stuff is driven by the work I did as a Main Street guy, which we had a review committee and we actually funded the stuff with many matching grants. So we were able to affect good design with a carrot and stick. And I would suggest that there might be an opportunity for us to do something like that here with some agreement and buy-in from council to fund it. So, and that would take a little bit of show and tell of what good and bad look like. Anyway, I'm moving on to, one thing I just photographed, which is a pet peeve, is those strings of lights that surround a window. And they're in all these different colors and they flash. And I just saw that on the, it's the perimeter of a window with lighting. So I don't know if it even falls into the signage code, but it's terribly tacky, very bright, loud, can flash, change colors. And it's on the gas station, on Montgomery Avenue, the Budget, whatever it's called, which also got some new signage, which is, I think, really questionable. I will send photos.
I mean, that sounds to me like a little too much imposing taste on your taste upon others. I don't.
One could argue that, which is what we do all day long here.
I'm just saying.
And which you object to all day long here,
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
except,
right. So I am giving you my perspective on things as I see them.
Pam, where the,
Electronic signs, yes.
no, was there a name for what you're just describing, those?
I don't,
LEDs that's
they're ribbon lights, I guess, I don't know. But signs that flash and light blink are not permitted. These are not on the sign, they're around the window. Yes, I'm giving you my opinion.
But that's the North Pole. We do that at Christmas, and the holidays, 4th of July.
I do feel like it is sort of the crushing of the spirit. I mean, these lights are celebratory in a way. Certainly at a gas station, maybe different context, I don't know, but.
Take a look at them and tell me if you don't think they're terribly tacky. And I think
Are
if you're
they-
talking about the
One
character
question.
of the town, I would like to weigh in on that, you know, we're
I don't wanna
talking
be
about
the
character all day long.
point, but I am just, one thing needs to be clarified. Are they like the plug-in removable temporary type, or are they like fixed,
That's a
hardwired?
good question.
Are they hardwired? Okay.
Okay, so all we're doing here right now as a starting point is looking at what is the code, as Jim had suggested. And I'm giving you my color commentary on that. So we can see all these different things that are described by type of sign, and then by the dimensions of the sign, and then the comments specific to each type. One thing I note that they do in Philadelphia, in a similar format, I'm not sure if they do it here, Kevin, tell me if we do or not. And that is to say, there's a formula for the maximum square footage, and you can have a menu of options that total no more than the maximum. I didn't see it here. Maybe I missed it.
It depends on the sign type. So some of them use like the frontage width or like the tenant space width, and then some of them just give you a quantity. So it's kind of a hybrid depending on the sign type you use.
Right. So if you use all of them at the same time, you're good, but I don't know if they are allowed to do that. Because I see examples of some of each of these, and it's a lot of signage. So we might look at what the max is if you're using multiples, you know? The question of how much is enough versus too much. I have photographs of awnings that have the different types and the lettering on them and the size of.
Ran which page now?
Okay, I am at awning and sign, which is page 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's 6 up there,
6, yeah. So, one thing that jumps out is dome awnings. And again, purely a matter of opinion, I think they're not perhaps what we're looking to do. I can show you examples of domes awnings that are not, I would say not Narberth. And again, there's the questions of the good, the bad, and the ugly. That is one's opinion. There are letters and graphics and numbers across the tops, the slanted part of the awning that are a question of whether it's good, bad, and that's a matter of opinion and discussion. There's a matter of materials. And I've taken photos of signs that I particularly like and don't like in terms of materials and dimensionality, depth that goes in and out, things that build out or cut in are interesting to me. And that's what we learned through our program training as well, to keep it off of just a single plane. There are many examples of a big plastic sign that is really lowest common denominator. Now, they can't be backlit, but you know, that's a matter of taste and opinion of what we talk about materials all the time. I think that matters here. They're kind of shiny plastic that could be improved.
So this doesn't talk about the materials at all for what the awnings are made of? Is that right?
Oh, you're on awnings, I'm sorry.
Awning sign.
You know, I don't see materials in here. When we were doing this stuff with guidance and funding, we did specify material type. That's a good point. Materials on the signage itself, I think not.
Right, not just looking, I'm thinking about the awnings, what the awnings are made of.
Right. Plastic awnings do exist. And sometimes they are called waterfall. They curve down. I'm gonna say plastic and curve down, and oftentimes they are backlit, and they're effectively a sign.
Do we have any of those in Narberth?
No, I don't believe so. There is one that may be like, no, it's not like that. It's round in the other dimension, and it's the Chinese restaurant next to the theater.
Right.
So it doesn't cascade like this, it just is a semicircle design. It may be backlit, I don't know. So if we had design guidelines, if we scrutinize what we have and like and don't like, and of course, yes, we're proposing what good is or not good design, we could affect change.
I mean, what's concerning to me, and I might be way off the rails here, but the entrepreneurial spirit is born of creativity and economic resilience, and I feel like this need to homogenize and regulate every awning over every business is like what I fear Narberth is becoming is just the next affluent, same, everybody wants what their neighbor has, same of the same. And I don't believe that is true to the spirit of this community. I think the community character of Narberth is very unique. Yeah, it's colorful, colorful. That's easier to accept. But I appreciate that, Graham, you care about this, but I just wanted to sort of put it into the perspective of where the desire to even have an awning comes from.
Awnings serve a purpose for shade, and sometimes they serve primarily as a sign. So
Gives you a place to pause and look fondly into patisserie offerings
gets your attention, it's marketing.
without actually eating any of them.
Or all of them.
Well, bad.
But they
Yeah, I mean, I'm
provide
assuming
shade.
this image is of good practice, right?
I'm sorry?
This is a good practice.
Oh, they're
what you're
beautiful.
suggesting, right? This
Those
is-
are all nice, very nice. Yeah, I'm not looking at the bad
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I think what's interesting about these, frankly, is not only the awnings, but the signs. Look at, each of them has dimensionality.
Mhm.
You know, they pop out, and character development, the way it has interesting color, materials, shapes, movement, all that is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Same for the patisserie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, these are classic.
I mean,
These are classic.
I think, especially given that there's no force behind our regulation of these signs, as far as I know, I think there's certainly no harm that could be done with bringing attention to what's already there and saying like, there's been some artistry put into this and it looks good and in a way worthy of celebration. Hopefully it's effective for their businesses and that's their decision if what they want to do. But like something like this, I'd be completely fine saying, you know, these are good practices, which I don't know, you do know, for signage. And we have some of that in our community and we should put a spotlight on it if possible. If anyone cares, you know, maybe they don't, but
They do care, but they're not
maybe they don't
cognizant,
even know.
not aware of it.
The opportunity for change happens with turnover, primarily, unless you have money to offer to motivate people, to say we'll match. Otherwise, they'll just keep doing what they're doing. So because now at Albrecht's for lack of, what is that called? It's got a, well, whatever.
It's got a number.
Albrecht's, whatever. Because of that, obviously there's new coming there as well as eventually here on Haverford. So this presents an opportunity. Maybe it's too late in the case of Albrecht's because they're imminent, to go through a process with them. They want more than what they're getting. Maybe there's an opportunity for a dialogue to say, yeah, let's talk not just quantity, but quality. Let's do, if you want more than what you're getting, are you willing to have a conversation about design review and work with us?
I think the horse is out of the barn because of the stage of the development of that project.
Right,
I mean, he's
right,
talking to tenants
yes,
now
right,
as we speak.
right.
And
requirement to have a change in code in place or design standards to have a conversation.
And that's why I'm thinking too, that, it's this conversation that you're having around 5B needs to happen around 5A too, because I think not having this be a thing has kind of allowed the developer of Haverford Avenue to only see that as a building that functions from Haverford Avenue and not look at the opportunity of having a function for the parking lot. And we're going to be having a development coming down the pike, the other side of the bank. So how that parking lot gets used, the other side of Citizens Bank,
Oh.
is going to be another issue too at some point. So
Is that also Ruben? I think it is, right?
I think so. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but as I'm saying is I think this
More to say.
conversation around 5B is one that should be happening in a large sense too.
well, it's a code. It's a recognition of the fact that the code is deficient.
Deficient,
And
exactly.
we need to fix it. And when we fix it,
Yeah.
it'll apply everywhere.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly.
And if I can address, Jen, your concern for homogeneity, I don't think that's the intention at all.
Okay.
Because when you look at these here, they're anything but homogeneous. And they're beautiful, and they're,
I think maybe it was just this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad.
this is my
It's a
opinion.
purely, it's so subjective, and
It is.
but I think you were right to say that it's a conversation to be engaged with the applicant. That is the key.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, everything we do is a matter of opinion. We're talking about likes and dislikes and preferences and priorities. That's all we do, right? And I may have put it in a certain term that makes it, I'm telling you my personal preferences, but we're in, design by committee is challenging in its nature because there's no universal truth. But there are standards, as you know. So, you can have standards for signage with guidelines, and you can have standards for how you look at a historic district.
So what should we do with this document?
This was just a starting point of the conversation, as you had suggested, to look at the things that exist. I think it warrants our looking further at that in the context of what is out there. This is, like I said, gets very technical and prescriptive in terms of size. I would suggest, first of all, that even per this code, there may be too much signage permitted. And I happen to be a less is more person on that. I think I see, frankly, a lot of big signage that is perhaps too much and too many of them. That's my opinion. And
You see that in the town as it exists.
yeah, I photographed that. In particular along Montgomery Avenue. And we tend to not think about Montgomery Avenue, but that commercial highway really needs some support in terms of its feel, its look. There was one particular, I think, Kevin, it may have been an enforcement matter, where this particular real estate company had signage everywhere. It was just so much. It was everywhere, on every awning and window and sign, and it was just overkill. So frankly, I think there is an opportunity for less is more as part of this review, as well as materials and sense of what one might say is a matter of quality and upping the game. Making it more sophisticated and less, in my opinion, crude commercial.
Have you taken photographs of the signs you consider to be bad?
Just 2 hours ago.
Okay.
I just drove around and I did that, and I will be happy to share them.
Okay.
It would help, I mean, I need illustrative material, you know.
Absolutely, this is all
Yeah,
with no
yeah,
context
okay,
at all. And I regret I didn't do that yet, but I was taking your lead to start with what exists, the code itself.
Mhm.
There are certain things in the code that I think are questionable, such as a marquee. Other than a theater, would you really want a marquee on?
No.
It
Probably
doesn't
not.
seem to apply to our situation. So just stuff like that. So, and an off-premises sign, where do you have a freestanding off-premises sign?
Montgomery Avenue at the corner of Sabine and
So,
help me out here.
is it,
Right by the
Montgomery.
playground, so it's Norworth Avenue, Sabine, it's that, right, that corner?
because it's part of a complex where they're set back, right?
They're invisible from
Yes, we
that
don't
corner.
Right.
It's the early learning center or
Right.
whatever, and it has
Right.
no business being there.
Right.
We should find a way to disallow that because it's not associated with the business itself. It's just a sign. It's 500 yards or something like that.
Yeah. So I
Gives them a presence-
questioned it.
It gives them a presence on the busy thoroughfare signage
Right.
wise. You know.
And they don't sell their product that way, so I don't see any reason for them to have a sign like that.
Yeah, because once you open that door, I mean, can anybody put a sign out on Montgomery Avenue?
Apparently.
Let's see if, this guy down the street in Haverford wants to put it out on Montgomery.
Yeah, exactly. There's no criteria that I know of for allowing or Kevin, tell me if this is true, for allowing or disallowing a sign like that one.
No, I mean the only two criteria are it can't be any closer than 100 feet with a residential use, and no higher than 14 feet measured from its highest point to the ground. That's it.
And also, apart from that, it can be anywhere in town.
Anybody can put a sign out anywhere. I mean, what I'm pointing to are the weird cases that could happen. And the code allows it. Somebody could come in and put up a sign here for a property or business over there. Does that make sense?
Right.
All right, so that's my thinking on it. And as you suggested,
Tune into the, yeah.
Dennis, this is not in our purview.
Right.
And when I brought it up originally, we understood that it is a stretch but yet it's relevant and, you know, I have thoughts on it and whether it's appropriate for this body to discuss or not, to be determined, or I can share it with planning commission or council.
Well, yeah, because the key body that considers it a matter of course is the planning commission. That doesn't mean that we can't weigh in on issues or even, you know, sort of lend support. You know, I think that's a reasonable thing if we as a body feel, because I mean, you can make a case for, you know, that there's a historic preservation component to it, but, you know, it having to do with the downtown district or anything. So, I mean, I think that
It's
It's
really not a
inappropriate.
historic preservation
but I
thing,
think
frankly.
the rubber meets the road at the planning commission, and they're already primed for it, because they're already talking about it. And I think this, to me,
Yeah.
sounds like just kind of having them look at it a little bit more deeply, but,
So should I send an email and just say, we talked about it and just began the conversation and happy to continue this
Yeah, I'd say-
at the planning commission?
yeah, read over the minutes so you can get the nature of the conversation that's occurred there, and then I'd reach out to Todd, you know,
Mhm.
about it.
And because this is just the beginning of it and we're just getting acquainted for the first time, I will be happy to take my photos that I just took and put them into a document and send them around and,
That would be helpful, I like that a lot, yeah, if you can point to. Because I mean, I kind of think I know what you're talking about, but it would really be,
yeah, you can't really
I
without,
kind of need to know sort of how you're seeing.
A picture, you know.
A picture. I'm an art historian, I need to have images. I can't talk without
Is it-
images.
Well, it's a proverb, although I'm not Chinese, my literally.
So,
all right, well, thank you all for indulging me on this.
All right, thank you for doing this work.
it's okay.
What's next?
Is there anything else? We have anything else that anyone wants to bring up? We have no other agenda items, so.
I have one thing, which is I need to follow up about the Minerva Park and Natural
Yes.
Explorer, because they have a book that's already out, and they're around, and they said they were happy to do it, and I said to pester them to do it.
Good. So what would you like to have happen, and when would you like it to happen? And what's it look like?
The initial vision would just have, I mean, it could be as elaborate as a book talk at the Narberth bookstore with their beautiful book, and maybe a slideshow, and then we put together a walking tour that says, these are the 8 Nichols houses in Narberth, and here's where they are in a Google map or something. Here's a self-guided tour, or if they're willing to actually take us on a tour, it would be an actual event.
I think they probably would.
Probably
By the sound of it. And that's, I was thinking that, would you want to do like a,
In the fall.
in the fall, to do like either a Saturday or Sunday afternoon thing at the bookstore, followed by the walk around?
Yeah.
For anybody who wants to do the walk around, all sorts of, I would imagine.
You could probably do that, that'd be great.
That would be great. So, all right, this would be us sponsoring it. Do we want to joint venture it with?
I could get I mean, if we need to pay Bill and Molly Lester, fill out the chapter of the Society of Architectural Historians, would probably throw in some money for them. They want to co-sponsor it. Maybe Kathleen would be willing to, at Ellen Conservancy, would be willing to co-sponsor it.
The borough supported us financially with the workshop series that we did. I
Yeah.
think if we proposed it to them, we could probably shake a few dollars loose.
Yeah, I mean, they're,
That as well.
it's more like an honorarium for just taking the time, they don't really care.
It's not gonna be payment, no. It's
Yeah.
more-
I think it was $300 last time for
Yeah,
the,
Yeah, we split that, we split that with the conservancy and the, so I think the borough was like 250 of the total, yeah. But, so no, I think that would be good.
all right, I'll shoot for if we can get $500.
Yeah, I think that's a completely reasonable honorarium. So then, you're looking at like, probably like October,
Okay,
or what you, give them a set of dates to see how they respond to it, but what do you guys think? You think a Saturday's best or a Monday afternoon?
I mean, it would be really great if there was some coordination with the property owners so we could
Oh, you think?
peek into
Hey, is
the,
there something like bushes looking over there? Yes.
because they already agreed to have their homes photographed, so
Right. So
they
they've
know
had,
them.
so they've had contact with the owners.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so, and that's something that they've had in terms of reaching out to the owners?
Yeah,
How many properties do we have?
I think I think Narberth is where she did the most projects in her career. I think it's like 5, 6 or 7 or something like that. Maybe that's a little high.
Do you know the addresses? Of course you do.
I follow up. I will, if it's in the book, because they have kind of like catalog resume, and
Does the Norwood Bookstore have the book?
I don't know. I haven't been in there,
Okay.
but it's Yale University Press.
Well, if they're gonna sponsor it, they need to have the book,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
because they're gonna sell the book,
She'll want to, she'll want to.
probably.
Is there a digital?
Copy of the book.
Yeah.
I'll look now, but it's kind of like, they get a professional abs photographer to do the photographs, so they're essays and then it's more like an art book where really high, large format photos.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
it's nice, it's $60.
And also, it's in the early stages yet, but,
It's a great Christmas gift.
Great Christmas.
Yes, we could market it as a holiday gift.
Right, and we'll put our little hard one pager in
we
there.
should print up hard bookmarks.
Yeah,
Also, there's gonna be, I'm not sure what the timeline is gonna be, unless what the timeline is gonna be on it, but, there is gonna be Vicki Donahoe's History of Narberth. It's
yeah,
gonna be published by Laura Marion Historical Society. So we're just beginning on that project. Sort of looking at, there's a text, that needs some subsequent editing, but we have a text and a lot of illustrative material, so now we're beginning to marry the images to the text, so.
Are you rating the archive?
What's that?
Are you rating the archive?
Yeah, Laura Marion Historical has most of the stuff, and then Vicki had a lot of stuff herself, so a lot of the material, she has hand-drawn maps that she did, you know, and so and a lot of the photographs, one that she put together. So yeah, we're looking for sources for all of it, but our next step is to see what we have, you know, what already exists here at the Historical Society or among Vicki's materials. So anyway, so that's gonna be, I mean, hey, is this ever gonna be a youth cell? No, but I think there'll be a very small, very dedicated clientele. I mean, it's the kind of thing that so maybe we sell 75 or 100 of them initially, and then maybe every year you sell another 10 or 15, probably. It's that, you know, because it's.
Are you in on it? Sounds like you are.
Yeah, I'm on behalf of the Historical Society. I am, so, yeah. So anyway, we're hopeful, but I think it's gonna be, I think it'll be really good. And, you know, it'll be a deep dive. I mean, you'll get, but it's kind of part history and part Vicki memoir, you know, so it's very much through Vicki's eyes and through the way Vicki saw it wrote. So anyway, but that'll be coming. So that'll be really nice. It'd be nice to be able to have this book as well. Get people looking at buildings, you know.
Is there any news on the bridge? And I saw there's some graphics down there and
Those are
or
years old.
price. No, that was just as of June.
It's the same image,
That's got a new date on it, okay.
yeah.
Or Price House, they have a tenant, but nothing new coming in on that.
The
Okay,
ice cream store,
yeah.
There's a sign. Did you weigh in on that sign? The sign just went up. The ice cream.
I saw it, yeah,
So,
I noticed it.
but yeah, no, nothing on Price House. Nothing, right, Kevin? Nothing.
Now, Refuge just signed a 13-month, I think, lease. That was probably about 4 or 5 months ago. So they have about a half a year left, at least.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's good to have somebody in the building.
it's
you
on
know.
ice. Puts it on ice.
Puts it on ice, which is a good place for it to be for the moment. You know.
I wouldn't think that a short-term lease would do anything in terms of a guy's plans. I mean, that's the tail on the dog, frankly.
Well, for him it is. Yeah, for him it was because he really didn't have a use for that historic building. to him, you know, he was really looking at the developability of the rest of the lot. But I don't know where that stands.
And Refugia just wants a parking lot.
Sorry?
Refugia just wants a parking lot where they can park their trucks.
Right, and they're actually planting growing stuff there. We've got plant materials coming out.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess there's nothing else. Let's go ahead and we'll adjourn the meeting. Have a motion to adjourn.
You do.
Jim has made a motion. Randy seconded. All right, we are adjourned. Great, thank you all for coming. See you all in August.